Guidance. Go flight. Second stage. Go second stage. Temperatures. Go. MECO and SECO. Go MECO, go SECO. Fairings. Fairings go. And payload. Payload's looking good, flight. All green for mission control. Flight director, go for launch. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, ignition, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the broadcast. Today, Stratosphere Technology are launching two different kinds of payload into low Earth orbit using the rapidly reusable rocket. One of which is the new MicroSat V2, a smaller and more effective satellite that helps bring communication to more remote areas. Vehicle is pitching downrange. As you just saw, the vehicle looks like it launched brilliantly, and that call-out confirms that the rocket is now starting its trajectory adjustments to get to orbit. It will take about 3 minutes, so sit back and relax. Trajectory nominal. Speed nominal. This launch is following the AXE Starspace classified payload mission, in which we landed the second stage for the first time in history. We will be attempting this again today, although during this broadcast you will only see the boost back burn. Don't worry, however, as shortly after the end of this transmission, you will be able to see shots of the second stage's landing on a different video. Entering max Q. We've passed max Q. Additionally, during this broadcast, you will be able to watch the core stage make a landing abort test, which is guaranteed to be exciting whether it goes right or wrong. It will include entry, a landing burn, an abort burn, a trajectory adjustment, and a landing, if all goes to plan. We'd also like to remind you that this entire vehicle is reusable, and most of it is currently being used for the second time, following the first HybriSat mission. The core stage and second stage land themselves and are refurbished, and the petal fairing glides back down to Earth from the high atmosphere to be recovered, restocked, and relaunched. Unfortunately, the petal fairing has only been recovered once out of 3 launches, but we are trying to increase that ratio for the better. The next upcoming event is MECO, or Main Engine Cutoff. This is when the engine shuts down to allow for a safe stage separation, which will occur shortly after MECO. It is when the second stage is detached from the first before starting its engines and burning for orbit. This will allow a safe deployment of any payloads. The only thing left to do now is wait for MECO, and you will hear a call out confirming that. MECO. Successful stage step. Well, you saw it and you heard it. There has been a successful MECO and a successful stage separation. The first stage will now fall back down to Earth to land itself autonomously, and the second will glide to the highest point in its trajectory, and when it gets there, burn its engines for orbit. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen now, the core stage has entered the atmosphere and is starting its entry burn. The entry burn slows it down so it doesn't burn up in the atmosphere, and also allows for a nice soft landing, although the abort test will probably cancel that out. On the right-hand side of your screen, you can see the second stage's engines burning for orbit. Once this is completed, the engines will cut off and it will deploy the payloads. A reminder, the payload in the rocket today is the MicroSat V2, a smaller and more effective satellite that helps bring communication to remote areas, and the HybriSats, designed for communication and world mapping. And now, as you can see on your screens, the second stage is throttling down for an engine cutoff, as we just had there, to prepare to deploy the two types of payload. Unveiled there are the two HybriSats, which we'll now deploy. And it seems like we have had a problem deploying the solar panels in the second HybriSat. However, according to the new adjustments, we will be able to manually force them out of their shell. And there we have it. Those are two successfully deployed HybriSats. Next up are the MicroSat V2s, which these are its first flight and its first deployment. So we'll see how that goes. On your screen now, you are witnessing the first deployment of MicroSat V2s. Unfortunately, there has been a problem with the right batch of MicroSats, and Mission Control decided not to attempt to deploy them. The second stage will now be performing its boost back burn, which will conclude our coverage of the second stage, but you will be able to see the landing in a different video in 5 to 10 minutes time. However, as you can see now, the booster is performing its abort test. So that's its purposefully wobbly touchdown, as the engines reignite. And shortly it will be performing its second landing attempt. It looks like that landing attempt has failed, so we do have an unscheduled first abort. So by the looks of it, it has completed both aborts correctly, even though one of them wasn't scheduled. Stay on the channel to see the second stage landing in 5 to 10 minutes. See you there. Goodbye.